vice principal of the Indian School Kingdom of Bahrain, which is one of the biggest schools in the entire GCC, with having more than 12,000 pupils as a strength. Mr. Anand Nair is Mr. Anand Nair is from a commerce background and is in the teaching profession for the past 22 years. He has submitted 2 papers in the International Journal in Financial Inclusion. He is also a motivational speaker and has conducted a number of training programs in various institutions. Mr. Anand Nair, it's all yours now.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Greetings to the entire team of PWA led by Mr. Gayaz, the host Javed Sab, Ms. Raja Abdullah, dignitaries from all the schools of Bahrain. I could see the Honorary Chairman of the Indian School, Mr. Prince Natarajan here. Members of the teaching community, distinguished parents, young students, and all friends from all over Bahrain and other countries, including India, who has joined us. A very good evening. It's an excellent webinar that has been organized on the concept of the challenges which is faced by all of us for this online teaching. It is indeed the situation demanded that teaching has to go online. Because of social distancing now, everywhere what we saw is that what is required at the time of this hour is like an online teaching. Can I request the host to allow the screen sharing option?
Yeah. Is it okay now?
Remote learning, the challenges and the changing perspectives. What are the challenges which we come across, and why is remote learning suddenly it has become like, the need of the hour? Remote learning is something which, which has come to us by chance. It's where the student, the educator, the information source are not physically present. It's not a traditional environment. And for all of us, for the teachers, for the parents out there, for the students out there, this is entirely a new perspective, a new dimension to learning. And this new dimension has taken everybody off guard, because nobody ever thought that this situation will come where a remote learning platform has to be exercised, where a remote learning platform has to be used to impart education or to impart learning source. In fact, the school has become virtual now. And that is what is the need of the hour. Now, few years back, when we would have said that, remote learning is required, or remote learning is required in the source of institution, everybody needs to go remote learning or through use the virtual platform, we would not have believed it. But today the need of the hour has become the remote learning. So it is the source of vitamin during this pandemic, because we came across all health institutions everywhere said that social distancing has to be followed. There has to be isolation. We should not mingle with people physically. Nobody should come near to each other. And as a result, the only option available for all of us was to use the remote learning platform effectively in such a way that the students are always benefited, in such a way that the students do not lose on academic sessions, in such a way that it is beneficial for the student and they are into this flow of learning so that their learning does not stop. And so this is the only source of vitamin that has been available there. So this pandemic has brought forward that remote learning is the only option right now as if available. There could be two sources of remote learning, offline and online. Offline, where we send pre-recorded lessons will be imparted, will be given to students, they view that and through that they access this platform. Or online, where teacher and the student interacts through the net, using the net platform and various platforms available. Through various platforms, they interact with each other on a regular basis, one-to-one basis in a classroom. But only thing is that the physical classroom may not be present. What will be present is like, the student sitting at home, the teacher sitting at a distant place will be interacting with the classroom, and all the students in the class will be connected to the teacher through a common platform. That is what we call as the online platform. So every place has become a classroom. The teacher is sitting in the convenience of his home. The students are sitting at the convenience of at their home. And this is what every student wanted once upon a time. Once upon a time, you say every child wanted to take, maybe a few months back, every child wanted to take the mobile phone to school. Every child wanted to sit with the mobile phone. Every child wanted to sit with the laptop. So when the parents were using the laptop, when the children were using when the parents were using the mobile phone, the children wanted a mobile phone. The children wanted a laptop. Their dream came true somehow. And today, what happened? What has happened is that every child has a mobile or a laptop, and this is what they wanted. Actually, this is how they wanted. And now suddenly, what happened? This has become a reality for them. So it saves them time and energy. They need not go all the way to the school. It definitely saves a lot of time and energy for them. Knowledge sharing has become much more easier. Why it has become easier in the sense like knowledge was limited or confined to textbooks in the previous time. Now knowledge sharing has become, because a teacher can share from a different platforms. A teacher can share knowledge through different sources. Books can be shared, assignments can be shared. Through the net, you can get access to various platforms or various pages which can be shared. Knowledge sharing has become very easy. Communication, I believe, has to be become very effective, teacher student communication, because using phones, cell phones, using the net, using the various online platform with the teachers and the parents can easily interact. Of course, there is another side to this also. It makes education stress-free and relaxed. Why stress-free? Because I get the convenience to sit at home and learn. Of course, it has added to the stress, of course, which Ms. Raja Abdullah will be speaking on it in the next session. Forget books and whiteboard, computer screen and projectors have become the new friends. And that is what is required. A child spends time on the computer. The school is at home. The school is in the cell phone. I remember till the month of February, if a child brings cell phone to the school, we'll confiscate the cell phone, call the parents and hand over the cell phone only to the parents. But post February, it has changed. Today, as the entire school is in the cell phone, and the child uses the cell phone in order to learn. That has become a learning tool or learning mechanism. So it has, from fun to compulsion. This is where it has become. The changeover has been fun. Cell phone was a matter of fun. Today it has become a must. And let us get to the psychological effect of it. When something becomes a must, it becomes a compulsion, then stress starts coming. And that's where today a lot of challenges have come in this remote learning. And what are those challenges that has come? Tech challenges in online teaching and learning. Few months back, many of us from the teaching community, from the teaching faculties or all around the world, and the students, many of us knew to use the cell phones, but for what? To access mail, to access WhatsApp, or for some other platforms. But we never knew how to access the cell phone or the internet for an online learning platform. It is a challenge. Many of the teachers took it up as a challenge. I personally know many of the faculties who were actually computer illiterate, including me, to learn to use this platform. We learned it at a very quicker pace because that was the situation, that was the need of the hour, and that is what is required. There's lack of support for teachers and students. Lack of support in the sense like definitely there are people who are there in the system. For example, the school has a system, there is a support system in the school. But when a teacher is on his own, when a child is on his own, when a teacher is operating a system, suddenly something goes wrong. The teacher is not able to support himself because the teacher may not be perfectly literate to that particular module as such. From the student perspective, there is no peer support. A student is sitting at home and peer support minded, the friends, they are one of the biggest source of support for the students. And today, that peer support is missing. If something goes wrong for a child, the first person whom the child confides is his friend. The first person who supports the child is his friends all around. And today, that support mechanism is missing for a child. A friend is also a phone call away. A friend is also maybe a mail away. but a friend is not physically present next to the child to hear the child's problem or to listen to the child, or the child can crack a joke and come out of his stress and worries. That is missing for a child. So there is no immediate peer support. A peer support is at a distant call. And that is where the connectivity between the students in the classroom becomes a question mark. This is one of the major challenges which we're facing today. The question of engagement. A child has to be engaged throughout. When a child has to be engaged throughout, normally when we look, when suppose if the school starts from 7 o'clock in the morning and ends at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the child has to be engaged throughout that time. So to engage a child throughout that time through the virtual platform, to engage a child for such a long hour is not correct, because the child cannot be exposed to a longer hour in front of the computer or the net or the cell phone. Same way for a teacher. A teacher cannot be exposed long hours. The teacher has to see the computer for or the cell phones for a long hour. It cannot be allowed to happen. That's one of the area where this is another challenge which all of us are facing, that how long should a child be exposed to the cell phone or to the computer? Self-care. Because when a child is exposed to a cell phone is very colorful. The computer is very colorful. It's full of colors and vibrance. When it is full of colors and vibrant, the child is automatically attracted to it. Wow, beautiful color. A graph comes up, a photograph comes up, a color comes up, or maybe you bring in an animation, something which comes up. You know, you bring in a quiz where you solve the quiz on the spot. You'll come to know what is right and what is wrong for you. Immediately you'll come to know the result also. So that is very colorful for the child. That's self. But in that process, the child fails to take care of himself, because a child is constantly exposed, and sometimes it can even land up into an addiction also. So the physical well-being, mental well-being, and social well-being, this is the area where a matter of concern is raised. Proper diet, exercise, sleep, like time for self-thinking, because when you are exposed to the net, you get constantly an immediate answer. You type something in the net, you type a particular issue in the net, you get 10 to 20 reference material to that. Which material to refer, the child is left out, and the child may not know. That is where the child requires guidance. So all the well-being of the child, the physical well-being, the mental well-being, the social well-being of the child has to be taken care of. Being only at home, being exposed only to the computer, or being exposed to the computer screen for a longer time may not go well with the child also. So that is where a particular module has to be created at home or by the school or by the teachers, where the children is given enough space to come out of the computer screen, where the child is given allotted enough time where the child can go back, sit, relax, and come back to the computer screen. That is what is required. What is the road ahead of us? There are reports that this pandemic may come to an end soon. How somewhere the vaccine is being tested. India is also on the forefront of it. We have already started the testing of the vaccine on human beings. But I don't foresee that in the immediate future. Let us take it like the Gulf schools have holidays in June and July. July and August. But the schools back in India, they are waiting to start. So what is the road ahead of that? For some days, we will have to leave this pandemic. For some days, COVID-19 is a part and parcel of our life, our social life. It is there to stay for some time. So the road ahead is not that very easy. This online platform will continue for few days, few months. Maybe, when Gulf schools open in September, the online platform may continue initially for some months or some days, till the government decides otherwise and the physical classroom starts. The road ahead is very challenging. Challenging because when a child goes back to a physical classroom, this is where the challenge lies for the students as well as the teachers. When the child goes back to the physical classroom, the child will find the entire concept of learning, teaching boring. It's a possibility there where the child can find it little boring. The reason why the child finds it a little boring, because the child is exposed to color. The child has been exposed to graphics for a long time. So when I teach in front using the computer, when I teach using graphics, when I teach using multimedia, when I teach using different colors, different pictures, the child is exposed to see that and say, wow. And tomorrow when I go to a physical classroom and start teaching without all those aids, suddenly looking only at me, the child may feel it boring also. So the road ahead is not that easy. Even if a child is removed from the screen and put into a physical classroom, the child to get adjusted to a physical classroom, which the child is missing right now, missing his friends, missing his school, missing his teachers, missing one-to-one motivation. The challenge is huge. It's a very, huge challenge. That is where now the time has come for us to filter it out. What is required? Today, when we see, when I said, when a fun becomes a compulsion, cell phone was a fun, internet was a fun, computer was a fun. Today, when it has become a compulsion, a child has to get up in the morning, sit in front of the cell phone or sit in front of the computer, watch it, write down notes, prepare assignments. It suddenly has become tough for a child. It suddenly has become challenging for the child. And the problem here is the grown-up children at least can manage, but the children who are small, their age is small, they cannot operate the cell phone on their own, and it is not correct for them to be exposed to the cell phones or to the computers for a longer time. Their parents have a dual role to make the child sit in front of the laptop or computer and make the child learn. So the teacher is teaching not only the child, the teacher is also teaching and reaching out to the parent at home, because along with the child, many parents are sitting with the child. Many parents are sitting with the children to understand what is this concept about. This has a positive effect also. Parents have understood also how much effort a teacher or a teaching community puts into. And the teaching community also has understood and appreciated the efforts of the parent community, because the child is important. It is for the child, both the teachers and the parents are working. So we'll have to filter it out. What is positive about it? We'll have to filter it out. We'll have to take up the challenges, because this world is a very colorful world. The world of IT, the world of virtual learning is a very colorful world. But the real challenge, when a child goes out into a physical classroom and there is no color, how will the teacher motivate the child to stay back, to get the attention of the child? Or how will the teacher motivate the child? Or how will the child motivate himself to be away from the world of colors? That's a real challenge which every one of us are facing. I hope in the coming days, we will be coming across a lot of challenges there. Stress factor is too high for the teachers as well as for the students. And we are forgetting one community here. It's not just the teachers and the students alone. It is the parents also who are going through the stress. So the stress factor for teachers, for students and parents are quite high. And we all of us have to come out of the stress factor, because this is what it is. It will continue. यही है और ये होना ही है और ये चलता ही रहेगा. कब तक? Till the situation comes to normalcy. And for the situation to come to normalcy, let us pray that the situation comes very easily. It comes back to normalcy and we get a physical classroom. The children also will be very happy. But my only worry is that there will be no color there. And I say color, graphics will be missing. So what will the child will be left to is lively interacting with the teachers. For some time to get adjusted to it, everyone will find it a little difficult. But the teaching community has always accepted challenges. And I'm sure in the days also the challenges they will be able to accept. Thank you so much.
Nair sir, please accept a virtual certificate which we are presenting, which is displayed on the screen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for your insight explanation, and we are thankful for your acceptance and presenting today, lending time and giving us a insight presentation. And I hope many of your students today, they are very happy seeing you, suggesting them a lot of suggestions you're giving them. And hopefully in future, we will make use of your services to further enhance and give more suggestions to our students. And also we express our thanks on behalf of PWA to you.